Hi, I'm Kevin Hill, and today we're going to do a really beautiful large waterfall with some big trees around the foreground and a lot of rushing water coming toward the foreground too. And of course, if you're enjoying these, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more painting videos. Let's get started. We'll start off today here with the little 3/4 brush and a nice soft peach color and a little bit of our clear gel mixed right into that. And as you can see, I spent just a couple minutes doing a basic sketch. Here's our waterfall. This way I don't paint anywhere where I don't want to. Okay. And the reason I mix the clear gel, this is dry up here. Normally I would just put the clear gel and white mix over the entire top sky area, but there's so little sky I just didn't feel like doing it today, so there you go. Now I'll just drop this little bit of color in. That's also why I'm using this brush. It's small, easy to control. There, good. And then a little bit of white over here. Just add the white right into the brush. Yeah, there you go. Fun. Let this all blend up. Should blend pretty easy with that clear. Then wipe your brush, reload into the clear, and then we're right over here to a nice soft purple color. Also the same color I was using to sketch with. Drop that right up here at the top. Blend the two together. The yellow, orange, and the purple should be fine. They won't get green because purple and yellow just to kind of make a brown, so it's all good. Now I'm going to move forward with this painting by blocking in our little waterfall here next. And you see I'm just using a beautiful peach color again. And this is great. I'm going to make it a little more yellow. This is great because it helps to tie the colors together. I don't know what kind of a sky this is. It's very, very small. A little bit of a sunset or sunrise thing happening. And I think that's really pretty. Now, very important note here for the waterfall. This thing is huge and we're standing down here at the bottom. So if you make it to where it looks like we can see the top of the waterfall, it's going to look super weird. So instead of coming over and down, just start coming down. Does that make sense? There, very important. But if you forget that, it's an easy thing to change later. It's always better not to have to change stuff. There. Putting a decent amount of paint on because I'm working right over a dry canvas, and that's great. It'll help make everything kind of sticky. There, covered in pretty solid. Now I'm going to go ahead and just scrub in a few rocks up here. And as you can see, we had to kind of make the waterfall a little bigger here with a little more mist. And that's great. See how you just change things as you go. It's one of the best things you can do is be flexible when you paint because you'll have a much better experience. It won't be so frustrating. Just kind of roll with whatever happens and work with it. And don't fight it when you have to make little changes. Don't get frustrated. Just remember that I do it too. There. This is really cool. I put a little dark on this side. I'm just kind of thinking about maybe what we want to do in a minute. And maybe that's going to be something like trees, but I don't want to go overboard. I want them to be fairly misty. So, well, think about that. Let's just leave that alone for a minute or two here. And start maybe working on some rocks, and then we'll jump over and think about trees in just a minute. Now I've decided to put a little bit just of light color right over here around this blank area, just to fill it in. And it almost looks like mist, but I think we're just going to use that as kind of a background to work with. And I'm just going to slide right over here now with the filbert brush into what looks like a little bit of a gray-green color, which should be good. We'll test it out and see what we think. I want to do trees, but I don't want to go crazy. I'm going to do layers of trees probably. And that's too much paint. Okay, because see, I want a misty background, so you can't use much paint when you want misty background. The only time you want to glob on the paint would be if you're doing something in the foreground. And you can glob it on just about as thick as you want. There we go. But not in the background, not if you want softness. There. Oh yeah. And see how I can allow some of that to show through? This is what I want. This is good stuff right here. Real good stuff. So you can kind of work that down. Borrow color. Yes. Yes, yes. Oh, this will be a good one. Have a little guy that's growing on this ledge. I'm just going to repeat the same process over and over again until I've got a little forest, and I'll, of course, add layers of detail in here. I won't just leave it. I won't just cut straight along. I'll do some extra things here. Next, I'm going to drop in a lot of our foreground here. I'm going to start with the water just because I like the water. It's going to be fun. Now when I do this underpainting, I want to purposely blend it into the mist here so that we can't see where the underpainting really starts. You can kind of see my sketch under there still, but that's fine. Sometimes when you put the paint on, it's so dry, it doesn't really blend very well, which is actually a big bonus, you know. You want to make things as in control as possible. You want to be as in control over what's happening as you can be, because things go slippery if you've painted, and I'm sure you probably have, and you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. When things go slippery, it gets tough. So try not to let things go too slippery, especially on a painting like this, where it's very misty, and you want a lot of control over what's happening, at least I do. There. Thin, small layers of paint. Okay, now let's grab a little bit more. I see my palette's just a big mess, but that's fine. Work paint on top of paint. In fact, if you guys haven't already, you may have already, but if you haven't, I have a free tip video. It's actually 5 tips. I sat down and thought about, 5 tips that a lot of people don't really talk about, and things that I've kind of picked up over the past few years of doing this with you guys. And I put them together in one video, in one place for you, so you can go watch or download that video for free. It's on the website. You just sign up for the email list. You go to the website and it'll be right there. Sign up for the email list, and then you'll automatically get the little download, or you could just watch it. And it's like a 20-minute video, but it's going to help you so much, because it's just, it's simple things that people don't think about. You gotta give it a try. It'll really give you a head start with some of your painting. There. Now I'm going to go ahead and just take a minute or two to drop in some larger trees. Of course, these are slightly darker. They're not really a whole lot larger. In fact, some of them are smaller, because obviously trees grow. They have to start small to get big, So you don't want your forests all the same height. Now you want them sort of the same height all the way across, with the variation of a couple of small ones here and there. That's the way you make it look natural. Okay, and I'm gonna do, maybe see some of these are kind of maybe behind, maybe the cliff sort of drops off and goes down toward the water, maybe there's another channel of water. See, you kind of just sort of, there's a lot of possibilities, You can always explain things in a painting. Sometimes it's easier to explain it than it is just to, to sit there and try to paint it perfectly. So I want you to be nice and loose here and have some beautiful variations of tree heights and sizes and all sorts of good stuff. Now I'm going to use a little 3/4 brush just to softly sweep in a bit of highlight here. Now look at this. This highlight is really not so shiny. You notice that? It's like the white, the reason it's almost pure white. I got a touch yellow into it. The reason it doesn't look shiny though is because we have a very subtle underpainting, very soft underpainting, and so the colors don't show with a lot of contrast. And the reason that's worth mentioning is because if you want more contrast, you're going to have to paint a darker background. Personally, this is what I want today. I want to feel the softness of the waterfall. And softness is achieved by just using less contrast. There. Normally not a good thing, but today, if you use it right, if you use it controlled and you know what you're doing, then softness is really pretty sometimes. Great. The more you blend this, then even the softer it gets. Don't do it too much though, because man, that underpainting will get eaten up real quick. And then you'll be left with a flat waterfall. Now, as you can see here, I spent just a couple minutes putting in some color, really just very quick smudges of color with the filbert brush. Okay, now, I did a quick smudge over here to hopefully indicate a rock. Now I'm gonna take this rock and make it pretty. You gotta have a bit of a quick underpainting when you do stuff like this, There. I love it. A little bit of light on the top, not too much. This is a nice little soft gray, nothing too crazy. I do want pops of color every once in a while, but I just don't want them, crazy all the time. But we do need some pops of color. Okay, cool. You'll notice that the shape of this rock looks familiar, right? It's the same shape as this one, and so I'm doing these pointy rocks throughout the painting. It gives it a note of realism. It's kind of cool, Right, see how you can shape these little rocks? There, I like it. Now, change to a dark, and just put in your darks. So a mid-tone, which I put in very quickly, then the darks, and your lights to create a very nice little interesting rock shape. Nice. All right. See how you can just create a nice little clump that quickly. Okay, so that was pretty easy. Actually, we could do a secondary highlight of yellow maybe. Little touch of sunlight. Yeah, well that gives you kind of an idea how to make some rocks. You can throw these, see how you can kind of scatter the rocks in and around. You want this area to look really random and natural. So maybe we'll take a little bit of our yellow and white. And come in here and watch this because our light's coming across like this today. Take some of your yellow and white and just drag across. Remember, I just scrubbed this with a filbert, and now I'm going to kind of drag across with my detail round because it is so soft. It's a wonderful little brush for stuff like this. Green, just slap a little green on the brush. It's almost just, it's so free, it's great. It's just a more impressionistic way to get a meadow of grass or moss. That's the cool part, is it's not just like tapped on grass. It's like, these are maybe rocks and dirt. These up here are bushes, and I can make the bushes a different color. Got some red and yellow. Highlight the bushes. There, so you can do so many things. So I'll play around with this for a little bit more. And then we'll move on to something else. Now I'm using the detail round brush here to create a beautiful little evergreen. And this evergreen is different from the others in that it's closer, so we need more detail. Although it's not a whole lot bigger, I do want it to have quite a bit more detail. That's why I'm using this brush, and I created a very distinct trunk. And also while I was going, I grabbed a little 3/4 brush and I made a couple of fallen logs there. Just the dark part. That's kind of not the difficult part. That's just a line of color. When we go in and highlight it and detail it, that's where you make it look like a fallen log. Okay, then it's kind of up to you as far as how thick you want to make this tree. I'm trying to get these branches to go out over the light. There, see how that makes a nice contrast area? And if you don't use this little detail round, if you use a filbert brush, you'll get more of a softer effect like this over here, which would be okay, but I really like this detail round. It takes a couple extra seconds to use, but I think it's probably well worth it. We're not in a rush. We'd rather have a nice looking painting. What's another 5 minutes anyways? Right? You really want to make your paintings as good as you can. And if it means you got to sit down for an extra minute, you should do it. I do it all the time. There. Now I'm going to use the little 3/4 brush here to drop in some shadow to our water. I started highlighting and then looked at it and thought, we really got to have some shadow down here too. Probably a little more than we had, so I'm going to add it right now. There, see how that works? Oh, that is so amazing. Love this sort of stuff. Good, I'm going to just rub this in because I need more shadow down here. In fact, I like the idea of maybe touching into a little bit of a brown. Why brown? Well, because it kind of helps to pull the colors in together. That's so cool. You know me, I like to stick the colors in and around. I can't just leave it one color. Colors have to be totally matching throughout the entire painting, otherwise I'm just not happy. I've got to have that. There you go. Okay, that's pretty cool. Let me set down this brush, grab our little detail round, and let's continue here just working on a little bit of this. And I don't want this crazy, I want this subtle. That's why I'm using this brush. I do want some movement, but I want it a little quieter, softer, and a little more gentle. Next, I'm going to go ahead and just drop on a bit of highlight to this tree. And as I go, I roll the brush in my fingers so that, see, it feeds clean paint all the way around. So just continually rolling clean paint on. That's the way you can get a long, long line with this thing. There. All right, this is actually pretty fun. I love doing these trees. And I think you should give these a try because, you know, any opportunity that you get to make your painting different, you guys know what I mean. Nice and different. People don't paint leaning trees a lot, you know, like if they're broken off. People don't normally stick them in the water. These are things that you just, you know, you don't really think to do, but are actually very powerful, so try them. That's why I like showing you all these different things. I want to make you guys as successful as possible. There. See how you can just let that fade back? Love it. Little blue, little black, just touch a shadow on the other side. There. Now, using the detail brush, I'm going to just simply drop in very quickly these little highlights up here on this tree. And I think I'm going to go ahead and just use this brush, the detail brush, to get all the highlights done, even on the other ones. I'll be quick though. There. This is so pretty. See how this just makes it really shiny, and I don't know, I just think it's pretty cool. So, there you go. You can put the midtones in. I'm also thinking about some midtones here. I just touched into a little blue to create that dark green that I just did. Now I'm back to the yellow, white, touch of green. So, kind of just work around as you go. Try not to contaminate all your paint though, like I just did. There. Okay, that's probably getting to where we're close to enough highlights. Let's get in some midtones. You gotta have three, at least three. If you can do 4 or 5, that's all the better. At least 3 different colors in each object that you do. Midtone, shadow, highlight, and usually reflected highlight from the sky, which is that blue stuff on the back. There. Now, one of the last things I want to do up here is simply drop in a little extra detail using a liner brush. I don't want a ton of detail everywhere, just a bit in the kind of the feature area, which is the center of the painting. There. Oh yeah, that looks good. Fun. Okay, good. And I'm just going to add a few more branches to all the trees, but not too many. There. Just helps to make it look complete and just a little more detailed. All right, well, I think we're done. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. Don't forget to check out my website, my DVDs, and also my brush line. And thanks for watching.